today with our message, okay? So once again, mental toughness, resolve for every successful entrepreneur. A resolve for every successful entrepreneur. So the very first thing to really kind of understand here with this topic that we've laid out for you today is that this is given freely. The divine gives this freely, and it gives it in an immeasurable quality. Okay, so that means that you're already in victory even before you start. You've already won the race even before they shoot off the gun. Take that in for a bit. Understand that, like, wow, what does it feel like to go into something to know that I'm already winning, that I've already won, right? And I just have to take the steps. As long as I take the steps and I take them one step at a time, and I stay in alignment with love, I stay in alignment with truth, I remember my God consciousness is just as more important than anything else, I can't lose. And that's what it comes down to, okay? So I've laid out 5 different concepts for you as it relates to mental toughness, a resolve for every successful entrepreneur. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with number 1. So these are laid out on the board. You guys watching at home, I know it might come up as backwards, so we're gonna write it in for you. Yeah, we're just gonna take you through, explain some things about each one, and yeah, give you a good message. So that's the plan there. So let me start with number 1, and all it is recount your past successes. Okay, recount your past successes. So what does my past success have to do with mental toughness? Easy. Your past success proves how strong you are, right? So because this is a class on business, what are your past business successes, right? So in March we had a class, and we had a few people come up and really talk about the experiences that they had, and you could see the joy on their faces, and you can see instantly their energy begin to change as they talked about those successes that they had. So you know what the beauty of life is? The beauty of life is we only have to recreate the energy in order to have something manifest, right? As the saying goes in Signs of the Mind, as in thought, so in manifestation. So thought, which equals feeling, which equals manifestation, all we have to do is find a way to go back and celebrate us, right? How easy is that to think about the wins you've had this year? Now that we're really sort of getting towards the end of the year, what you can do, even though it's been a tough year of Corona, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, look back on this year and say, what are my successes, right? Look back on 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10, 20, whatever it is. I even envision stuff that I experienced in high school that still makes me feel like a success today, but it's not just a success that matters with that. It's what I went through. It's the journey that I took to get to that success that makes me feel mentally tough, mentally strong. You know, and so as you progress in your evolution and your spiritual walk, understand that it's okay to really look back at the things that you may not have seen as favorable, because guess what? The universe loves you so much. Everything that comes in your life is favorable, right? The universe works on 2 concepts: self-actualization, unconditional love, right? So every single thing that's happened in your life is predicated on those 2 concepts. 2, not 4. Predicated on those 2 concepts, right? So in understanding that, I'll give you an example. I was bullied in middle school. I was bullied in grammar school. I was bullied in college, right? And it just got to a point where it was more so like, okay, how do I get past this point? But then once I was able to see things from that God consciousness, that love consciousness we talked about earlier, I was able to see this was for my own good, right? And you know the thing that I remember the most about the bullying? The strength that I exuded to overcome it, right? Got punched in the face a few times. Anybody can throw a punch. It takes a strong-willed person to be able to take one, right? And so that's what I started to focus on. That's what I started to bring to my attention. I said, you know what? I'm tougher than I even imagined. I'm tougher than I ever thought. And I look back at my life, and I look at those successes, and I look at those obstacles that I've had to overcome. And you know what? It builds strength within me, and it will do the same thing in you, right? So you look at your business. Look at your failures, right? Look at the times where it didn't work out. Look at the times where you were thinking of quitting, where it could have even brought you down to tears. Think about how tough you were in that moment, right? To say, you know what? Wipe these tears. I'm going to gather myself together, and I'm going to get back in here and continue to go at it moment to moment, a day at a time. That's toughness, right? That's mental toughness. If you've been alive this entire time, this entire year, guess what? You got mental toughness. Some people didn't have the toughness to stick around, right? And look, everything happens for a reason. Not to sound cliche, but it all happens for a reason. But guess what? You stuck around, right? You decided, okay, I'm going to figure out how to be more creative with my business. I'm going to figure out how to make things work with my life. Yeah, you know, there's a pandemic going on, but who cares, right? I am going to succeed because Spirit has equipped me with every single thing I need to succeed. And guess where it's at? It's not out here. It's not out there. It's not up here. It's in here, right? When it's in here, it becomes synced in there, and then you begin to see the manifestation. So really take a minute and think about your success, right? And if you're ready, if you're at that consciousness level, think about your failures too. Because guess what? They're not really failures. There's only lessons and blessings. It's all perspective, right? It's all in how we look at it. Look at those two and allow that to give you strength, and allow that to help you to understand that success is already yours. Fulfillment is already yours. Overcoming so-called quote-unquote failure is a success. It just is, because you overcame it. Progressing through anything, it's a success. Celebrate that, recount that. Take some time to really think about, where was I successful? And you know, if you really want to amp it up with some energy, find some time to close your eyes, right? Envision that, right? See it clearly, see it vividly, and then allow it to just permeate throughout your entire being. And I promise you, the universe takes everything, every single thing, and moves it in a precise, accurate direction to link up to that thing, to link up to that cause. It's always understanding, am I the correct cause? Recounting your successes helps you to be the correct cause. All right? That's number one. Number two. Okay, so I've got a bit of a strong biblical background, but I like taking these scriptures and I like interpreting it into new thought. I like being able to use it to help people from a place of love, a place free of judgment, and a place that just shows you, once again, the victory's already won. So number two, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, and of a good nature, focus on these things. So I changed them up a bit for you. I changed up the scripture a bit because I wanted to make it my own, right? It says, whatever things are true, whatever things are just, whatever things are of good nature. So this is so simple, it actually blew my mind. So I'm going to show you something from my own personal life that's a bit of a routine, right, that I do. So I'll set my alarm for 5:30 in the morning. I'll wake up. I'll meditate by connecting to the divine within. And then I will sit for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what I got to do. And I will slowly and feelingly read through a statement that resonates with the truth in my life, that puts me in a position to be peaceful, to be easeful, to be happy, to be relaxed, right? It can be something as simple as, today is the greatest day of my life. It doesn't have to be like a long paragraph. It can be something simple. Today is the greatest day of my life. Today is the greatest day of my life. Today is the greatest day of my life. Imagine how that feels. Just by saying that, I'm coming alive. So guess what happens? The universe, you remember the law of attraction and The Secret, the movie said, your wish is my command. It takes that energy and sends it streaming right through the day. As a matter of fact, not even streaming, because everything's happening concurrently. There is no past, present, future with the universe. Everything happens now, right? That's how God works. That's how the divine works, right? But in doing that simple act, guess what happens? I set my day up. More importantly, I set my perspective up to see things that come into alignment with today is the greatest day of my life, right? Now, that's just one area. You can get very specific with this, and I've gotten specific. And so let's say business, right? Today is the most successful, fulfilling day for my business, right? Today is the most successful and fulfilling day for my business. Say it over and over. Spend 10 minutes saying it, but don't rush through it, right? Take your time. Feel it, right? Because this is what's true. This is what's just. This is what's of a good nature. And then before you know it, what happens? And I'm telling you from experience, opportunity shows up, right? Somebody, back payments, things like that, things that were tied up for a while, all of a sudden begin to open and begin to become channels for you to experience that success and that fulfillment that you want. But it starts in the mind first, okay? It starts in the mind first. It's so easy. It's so easy. You know, number 3 kind of ties into this, but I want to touch on it now. There's so much coming from so many different directions as it relates to our lives. There's so much stimuli. So much stimuli. Whether you're on social media, you're watching TV, you're driving down the road, the interstate, there's billboards, there's so much stimulation because the battle is for the attention. Right? The battle is for the attention and for the mind, and once it has it, it's a done deal. Your mind's going in that direction, right? So when we think of our minds, we got to think of pure, unbridled power that can be led in any possible direction unless we train it, unless we I don't want to say train, but more harness the majority of its energy to focus on what we decide and what we